Chief Patricia Cantu, who's here as well. And then we have other officers who we really, really appreciate because we can't do any of this without the support of our police officers. And so I want to give you a little background information. This past May, Mayor Sylvester Turner and City Council approved the proposed amendments to Chapter 30 of the City of Houston Code of Ordinances related to noise and sound level regulation. The changes made to the ordinance were driven by complaints by our Houston residents living near businesses that emanate excessive late night noise, impacting the quality of life for several of our residents. The changes are a result of 2 years of collaborative work, listening to area residents, convening with establishment owners and organizations like the Greater Houston Texas Restaurant Association and the Neighborhood Beer Garden and Bar Association, analyzing metrics and garnering support from local civic leaders and other organizations. I'm particularly glad that Councilmember Alcorn has joined us because she was the driving force and supported by other district council members, myself, Councilmember Abby Kamen, and Councilmember Amy Peck, as well as the city staff and administration and Regulatory Affairs Department, Houston Police Department, and the City Attorney's Office. The changes will take appropriate steps to target repeat offenders. And so the changes recently approved by the sound ordinance, the creation of a new commercial establishment sound permit, which will be required of all commercial establishments located within 300 feet of a residence that wish to play amplified sound to 75 decibels on Sunday through Thursday from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. and on Friday and Saturday from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. We'll give them a little time to shake a tail feather a little bit longer. And as measured from the receiving property, commercial establishments can play amplified sound outdoors to 68 decibels from Sunday through Thursday from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. and Friday and Saturday from 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. It is important to note that not all restaurants and bars are within 300 feet of a residence, nor play amplified sound outside that can be heard outside. Only those establishments who meet those requirements need to apply for the permit. The significance of the new permit requirement is that permits that are issued can also be revoked, can I say revoked, for noncompliance, an important new tool for the city in dealing with the noise nuisance issues. That's very important because we need the ordinances enforced. No good in having an ordinance if it is not being enforced. The donation of the sound meters will be a critical tool for education enforcement and will provide officers on patrol or responding to calls data in real time. That's very important because there was a shortage of these sound meters and it came to our attention. We donated, I believe, 10 to the South Central back a few months ago, and that's very key because while the officers are on patrol, they should not have to go back to the station to procure a sound meter and then come back to the establishment. And these are state-of-the-art with calibrators. I kind of got stuck on that word yesterday. Calibrators that are on site as well, and these can be used in the court system. And so we certainly need the judges to enforce this. We need these fines and penalties to be enacted because we don't want this to just be something where people pay the cost of doing business. And so an important feature of the new commercial establishment sound permit is that it will be issued to an establishment rather than an individual. That was a problem before. And so the individual may move around, but then if you have the person that's actually an individual that's identified as an owner of that establishment or someone that is permanent in that establishment, that gives them the responsibility of compliance on the establishment itself. And even a DJ or other individual who's present in the establishment may be transient, so we have to be very mindful of that. Other changes include a new administrative hearing process that will allow an establishment whose permit is recommended for revocation to propose a plan to mitigate the adverse noise impacts in the neighborhood. And so the success of the previous donation has been said to be an opportunity to be proactive, to go there and talk with the business owners, residential communities about their noise, and at least give them, I say, a point of reference as far as how they should manage their noise so that they can be a good neighbor. And that's a quote from Commander Caroletta Johnson from South Central. So they have had tremendous success regarding this. And so certainly I'm so very honored that we were able to use our council district service funds to actually help people to have a quality of life. That's very important. We understand, I mean, back in the day I used to party, but certainly we have to be respectful of the people who live in these neighborhoods because we want to coexist. We welcome businesses, but we must coexist and provide quality of life. And so these are the donations of the sound meters. I'm sure that you have seen them, the calibrators. And certainly I want to thank again our police officers, Commander Collins, for accepting these donations and using them so that they can be there for the purpose of which we have designated them. And so now I'm going to ask Commander Collins if he will come forward and perhaps have a few words. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Councilmember Evans Shabazz, for this donation. It's going to really help us do our job. These quality of life issues are always some of the most important issues citizens bring up, and this is going to make it very easy for us to address them. So I can't thank you enough for your gracious donation and for your presence here today. Councilmember Alcorn, thank you so much for your presence and the work you've done on Chapter 30 of our City of Houston Code, and really just on behalf of the entire Southeast Division Patrol Station, a big thanks. So I appreciate that, and I'll turn the mic over. But thank you so much.
Okay, and for the benefit of those that do not speak English, we have Assistant Chief Cantu, who's going to come and interpret the purpose of this donation, and just to let people know that we really do care, and District D puts their money where their mouth is because these are needed. And so thank you so much, Assistant Chief Cantu.
Buenas tardes, estamos aquí con el miembro del Consejo, Evan Shabazz, y también Alice Alcorn, y también estamos aquí con quien le llamamos bien queridamente, con cariño, el mayordomo de la área, igualmente con el comandante Collins. Aquí estamos en este momento recibiendo 10 equipos de sonido para poder medir el sonido en la área, y aquí para nosotros el alcalde aprobó nuevas reglas para la ciudad para tratar de medir el sonido propio y también para educar nuestros establecimientos que tienen ruido, música o algo así en ese momento. Esto es dirigido para tratar de las personas que viven en sus hogares pueden vivir en paz sin la música, sin el sonido, y esto es una oportunidad para educar nuestros negocios que pueden trabajar juntos con la comunidad, en vez que vamos a educar primero con el uso de los equipos del sonido. Vamos a medir la distancia de qué tanto alto pueden tener el sonido, y en este momento vamos a medir 300 pies de la residencia en que el establecimiento está poniendo la música amplificada. Hay muchas reglas aquí y los permisos se requieren en la ciudad. Entonces, con todo esto, vamos a dar las gracias a nuestro miembro del Consejo, Evans Shabazz, y también nuestra Alcorn, con la importancia de tratar de educar. No queremos tanto multar a las personas, pero en la establección necesitamos entender que la gente quiere vivir en paz en sus hogares. Entonces, para esto, queremos que también los negocios hagan buen negocio, pero al mismo tiempo todos los permisos, las reglas van a cambiar. Entonces vamos a ponerlo eso en el social medio de la ciudad de Houston. Todas las recomendaciones están en esa página, y también vamos a tratar de educar en vez de solamente multar. Va a haber un nuevo proceso para oír las quejas en caso que se va a revocar los permisos del sonido. En ese tanto no estamos esperando eso, estamos esperando la ayuda de la comunidad, de también los negocios que pueden trabajar juntos para poder ser buen vecinos. Y en este momento, gracias, Consejo. Thank you, Chip.
I said a lot, right? Certainly, I am so very honored to have Councilmember Alcorn here. Our at-large partners are very important to us, and she was a great leader in getting us in front of the mayor so that we could actually talk to him about some pertinent changes. So I'd like to ask Councilmember Alcorn to step forward and have a few words. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Member, and a big thank you for this generous donation. We need the tools to enforce this ordinance, and I'm very excited about the changes that she described. They're really going to help to improve quality of life in many neighborhoods across Houston. This is a big issue in a bunch of neighborhoods. With a city with no zoning, you can be right up next to a bar or a nightclub that plays loud music. And we want our residents to not have to go out of town for the weekend or find another place to stay because the music's so loud. So these, the new changes come into effect September 6th. We're looking forward to that and really bringing a lot of the problem nightclubs and bars into compliance. So thank you again, Councilmember Evan Shabazz, for this generous donation, and HPD for all you do, and Mayor Hines for all you do for the community. Really thrilled to be here.
Thank you. Those ordinance changes, along with these sound meters, will actually help us to have teeth to be able to enforce the new ordinance. And so I don't know if Mayor Hines wants to say a word or two. She's always so much appreciated and upfront and on duty. She's actually the honorable mayor of Sunnyside, and what she does is immeasurable. Thank you.
I just want to say, bless God for this opportunity to be present with our council member, providing much needed tools used by the police department to protect our community. So on behalf of the community, I'd like to say thank you to you and to you, council member, to you, assistant chief, and to the police department. Thank you so much.
Okay, I believe this concludes the press conference. Do you have any questions? Okay.
Has it been hard to enforce the noise ordinance? I don't know if this is a question for you or someone.
Yes. Do you want to address that? It's kind of, I'm sure that it's hard when you don't have the tools on site. And so certainly I'll let Commander Collins address that.
Yes, oftentimes it is very difficult to enforce the noise ordinance. Very often we found that residents who live near these locations, they're somewhat hesitant to put their name on a citation at times as a witness to the loud noise. So by us having these tools to go out and determine that yes, in fact, the noise is violating the decibel level, it helps us immeasurably. It lets us be more proactive in enforcing the law as well, because we can have officers on special assignment that hit some of our problem locations. The vast majority of these calls from January to today's date occur during our shift 3 night shift hours. So this gives us tools to be proactive about it, and we don't always have to rely on citizens to put their names on a citation, because oftentimes that's intimidating, and sometimes people don't necessarily want to talk to the police or get involved. They just want the noise to stop because it's a quality of life issue, and that's what we're here to address. So these are going to help us immeasurably, and I'd just like to take another moment to thank Councilmember Evan Shabazz in my brief time here at Southeast Division, she has stepped up and helped us on numerous occasions. She's an advocate not only for the citizens of Southeast Houston, but for the Houston Police Department as well. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you.
What will the first-time offender, the detective level that exceeds the legal level of the issue of citation, what does that actually cost them, and what about repeat offenses, and what do they face? Revocation of their license to sell alcoholic beverages, or what are the scope of it?
Councilmember Alcorn.
I was just about to defer to somebody else on that one.
So right now, as the ordinance currently stands, you go through the municipal courts. You get a citation, you go through the courts. The complaints that we were hearing from so many residents is that process took forever. And the defense attorneys would get several delays. It was never able to. It was really hard to bring it all the way to a conviction. So that's still a first-time offender still is going to go down that route. What we established for repeat offenders, and that will be a judgment call made by HPD and Administration Regulatory Affairs and number of calls that come in. That will be determined. If it's a problem location, we will switch from the municipal court situation to an administrative hearing situation. And that will give the establishments, they'll get notice of an administrative hearing. They'll come in and they must come in with a sound mitigation plan to be accepted or denied by the hearing officer. If it's accepted, have a period of time with which to do the sound attenuation, and if it's not, then the permit will be suspended or revoked.
What is the maximum penalty?
We raised that. Right now it's $1,000, and through these ordinance changes, we raised it to $2,000. And eventually, we're not shutting people down. We don't have anything to do with the liquor license. I mean, that's TABC. But what we will be able to do now that we can't, when the ordinance takes effect, that we can't do now, is we'll be able to, at 10 o'clock or at 11 o'clock, turn that music off. You will no longer be able to play amplified sound, which can be appreciated outdoors, after 10 on the weekdays or 11 on the weekends.
And just want to also say, these sound meters will help the persons that are addressing these to quickly mitigate and be able to move on, because you know that we do have a shortage with police officers, and we have a lot of situations going on. So the less time that they have to spend by using these meters will be something that can help put them right back on the street to help us with other illegal activities in the district. And so I don't know if there are any further questions, but I do want to thank each and every one of you for coming out, because we do want people to know that we are working on their issues and that quality of life is at the forefront of our mission. And so I thank each and every one of you for coming. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Amaka wanted a picture to command the mood and the leader. That's what.